Guarded by Love. Episode 1. The New Shad. The London morning dawned in soft gold and mist. The city was waking, cars humming through polished streets, the distant bells of St. Paul's whispering through the fog. But inside the vast marble gates of the Knight estate, the world was already perfect. The mansion stood like a palace of glass and silver, its fountains singing under the early light. Roses bloomed along the path, the color of blush and cream, the kind of garden that seemed to have never known sorrow. And walking through that garden, in a pale lavender dress that brushed the morning dew, was Isabella Knight, the only daughter of Richard Knight, the business tycoon who ruled half of London's skyline. The heiress. Isabella was the kind of beauty that turned glances into silence. Her black hair shone like silk ink, her eyes deep and dark as midnight tea, holding an unspoken sparkle that could both challenge and charm. Her smile, soft yet mischievous, carried the warmth of sunlight and the confidence of someone who knew she could conquer rooms without saying a word. She wasn't fragile like porcelain. She was more like velvet over steel, elegant, alive, and a little wild. Her father often said, "My daughter was born to outshine diamonds." Her mother replied, "Yes, and to talk twice as much." And Isabella would just laugh, because both were true. The arrival of the guard. That same morning, a black SUV rolled through the gates. The car stopped before the main steps, and out stepped Ethan Cole, the new bodyguard. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with shoulders built like they could carry the world, and eyes the color of warm coffee. His dark brown hair was neatly trimmed, yet a single rebellious strand brushed his forehead, softening the soldier-like discipline in his face. There was something mesmerizing about him, not just his physique, though that alone could stop conversation, but the quiet gravity that surrounded him. He was carved in silence, steady as stone, untouchable. And when he smiled, which was rare, a single dimple appeared on his left cheek, as if the universe had given him one flaw just to keep mortals interested. He walked toward the mansion with calm, measured steps, a man who didn't need attention but drew it anyway. From the grand staircase above, Isabella leaned on the railing and watched him with a curious tilt of her head. "So that's the new one," she murmured. "Well, at least this one looks fascinating." Her voice carried the kind of tone that turned simple words into music. First meeting. Her mother, Victoria Knight, appeared beside her. Elegant as always, Victoria moved with the quiet grace of London's old aristocracy. "Don't start, Isabella," she warned gently. "Your father says he's the best from the agency. Just let him do his job." "I'm only observing," Isabella said innocently. "He looks like someone who eats rules for breakfast." Downstairs, the butler escorted Ethan into the grand hall. The sunlight pooled on the marble floor, glinting against his black suit, perfectly pressed, not a wrinkle in sight. Victoria greeted him with polite warmth. "Mr. Cole, welcome. I trust the agency explained your duties." "Yes, ma'am," he replied, his tone smooth and low, a voice that seemed to hum rather than speak. "My responsibility is the safety of Miss Knight, nothing else." "Good," Victoria nodded. "You'll begin today." And that was when Isabella decided to make her entrance. She descended the staircase slowly, one hand brushing the silver rail, her hair cascading like a dark waterfall over her shoulder. "Start today," she said, smiling playfully. "Oh, Mum, let the poor man breathe. He looks like he hasn't smiled since Queen Victoria was alive." Ethan turned toward her, and for the first time, their eyes met. Brown met black. Calm met chaos. And in that single heartbeat, Both worlds measured each other, his silence and her spark. "Good morning, Miss Knight," he said politely. She tilted her head. "Do all bodyguards come with a built-in seriousness, or is it just your model?" "Just my model," he said, expression unreadable. She raised an eyebrow, impressed. "Well, at least this one talks. The last guard stared at me like I was a math equation." A faint breath of amusement crossed his eyes, so faint that only someone as observant as Isabella would catch it. The shadow at work. By noon, Ethan had already inspected every inch of the estate, from the marble terraces to the east balcony that overlooked the Thames. He moved with military precision, blending into the background like a shadow that had learned discipline. Isabella, meanwhile, had made it her personal mission to interrupt him at least 3 times an hour. "So, Mr. Cole," she began as he checked the security feed, "do you ever laugh? Or are you under some vow of eternal seriousness?" He didn't look up. Staying focused keeps people safe. "How poetic," she teased. "You should have that embroidered on a pillow." No response. "Do you at least like music?" she asked. "Sometimes." "Let me guess," the sound of silence. A corner of his lip twitched, almost a smile. "Don't worry," she said cheerfully, leaning over the desk. "I'll get a full laugh out of you before the weekend. It's a challenge now." He finally met her eyes, calm and firm. "I'll do my best to make that impossible, Miss Knight." "Oh, you're competitive," she said brightly. "I like that." An unexpected rescue. That evening, as the sun began to melt into amber light, Isabella decided to walk through the gardens. She liked the sound of fountains, the rustle of leaves. It was her one escape from the glittering cage of her world. Ethan followed silently, a discreet distance away. She stopped near the roses, bending to touch one, when suddenly a loud rustle came from the hedges behind her. Before she even turned, Ethan's voice cut through the air. "Stay back." In a flash, he stepped forward, hand out, shielding her as he scanned the bushes. It was only the gardener, red-faced and apologetic. "Sorry, Miss Knight, just trimming the shrubs." Isabella looked up at Ethan, her pulse still fluttering. "Wow," she said softly, half laughing, half breathless. "You nearly tackled a gardener for me." "Better safe than sorry," he said simply, releasing his stance. "Good to know," she smiled. "Next time I sneeze, you might dive across the room." For a second, just a second, his dimple appeared. She noticed. And she decided that dimple was her new favorite mystery. Night thoughts. That night, the mansion fell silent under the glow of chandeliers. Isabella sat by her window, wrapped in a silk robe, the London skyline shimmering in the distance. She wasn't in love, not even close. But she was intrigued. There was something about the man who never flinched, who never bent to her charm, who seemed to exist in a world just slightly apart from hers. Most people tried too hard to impress her. Ethan didn't try at all, and that made him impossible to ignore. She opened her journal and wrote a single line. "Ethan Cole, the man who can stare at chaos and not blink. Objective, make him laugh before Friday." She underlined it twice, then smiled to herself. Downstairs by the marble gate, Ethan stood guard beneath the moonlight, still, calm, unaware that inside the mansion, a girl with black eyes and a storm in her heart was quietly planning to break his silence, one smile at a time.